Dante's Boxing Nation, Dante's Cooking Nation. We are out here. Where are we at?
We're out here in Bangkok.
There you go. She's from Ireland. Matter of fact, introduce yourself to the world.
My name's Hannah and I'm from Ireland and I'm the biggest fan of cooking show.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Biggest fan?
And I'm from Ireland. Sorry.
No, I can edit it, don't worry about it. All the way in Bangkok, Thailand, y'all.
No,
I'm gonna get
in
it right.
Ireland as well.
In Ireland, you hear that? DBN is international,
My
guys.
churros are ready now.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Mike Tyson, who was in attendance watching the Canelo Alvarez versus Bivol fight live, just like everyone else, Mike Tyson going into this fight, he pretty much didn't give Bivol a chance. So it was pretty interesting to hear what Mike Tyson had to say after he watched Canelo Alvarez get completely dominated by the 5-1 underdog, Dimitry Bivol. This is what Mike Tyson had to say. Check it out, guys.
I just think if Canelo was using the jab effectively, hard, the guy wouldn't have been able to come in because the guy was coming in because he wasn't worried about Canelo's jab. So he got more aggressive and he got brave. If he's not jabbing, he has no defense. If he's not going to jab, the guy's going to walk right into him like he did. Next fight, use your jab, different fight. Well, it was really basic, you know. Just pretty much jab. When he was jabbing, Canelo should be moving, slipping the jab for the final uppercuts. So he can anticipate the combination. If he was slipping the jab, the guy wouldn't throw the combination. If Canelo would have used his jab, I was discussing with my wife, he's not using his jab, and then the next round, I saw him using his jab some, so his corner must have been telling him the same thing. And I believe if he used his jab, it would have been a different fight.
All right, guys, so the tips Mike Tyson gave to Canelo Alvarez, that would only be effective if you had the type of head movement, rhythm, coordination, and defense that a Mike Tyson himself had. And I'm talking about before Mike Tyson had his 3-year hiatus and went to prison. Mike Tyson is telling Canelo to do something that Mike Tyson used to do. Not only jab, but you jab while you're bobbing and weaving, and that's something that Canelo can't do because it takes a lot of coordination and rhythm to do it, especially with the speed that Mike Tyson was doing it with. As you guys can see in the sparring footage right here of Canelo preparing for the Bivol fight, Canelo doesn't use too much head movement because he doesn't have natural head movement. He's often standing straight up, going into a high guard, waiting for you to throw your punches, and then once you finish, he'll try to hit you with the same predictable uppercut or hook. And as Mike Tyson put it, Canelo Alvarez, he doesn't throw too many jabs. But even if Canelo Alvarez did take Mike Tyson's advice and he started throwing a whole lot of jabs, if he tried that in the Bivol rematch, then he would just continuously keep getting caught with right hands and pull right hand counters. Because Canelo Alvarez, he does not have the head movement or the intelligence to vary the jab. And it's funny because as you watch this clip with Canelo sparring with Ronald Ellis, Canelo is actually moving his head a lot, but the problem is he's still getting hit when he moves his head, which defeats the whole purpose of moving your head. Bivol threw like a 6-punch combination in the 5th round against Canelo Alvarez. Canelo got hit with damn near 4 out of the 6, and then he slipped the last 2. And the way he slipped it, he tried to make it seem like he had slipped all 6 of the punches. By way of contrast, you could never catch the undefeated Mike Tyson in his prime. You could never catch him with even a 3-punch combination.
As anybody can see, I'm almost a master at evading the punches coming at me.
Despite Mike Tyson being one of the most aggressive heavyweights in history, he was also one of the best heavyweights defensively because he had the rhythm, the head movement, and most importantly, the reflexes and the intelligence. You know, when this sparring footage came out, Canelo sparring against Ronald Ellis and even the other clip that I played, because Canelo looked so flawed in the sparring sessions, the first thing Canelo Alvarez fans will say is, come on, man, that's just sparring. And we know that's not true when it comes to Canelo Alvarez because what we have seen in those sparring clips is exactly what we see in all of Canelo Alvarez's fights. It's kind of similar to the whole Edgar Berlanga situation. When Edgar was getting the big buzz, he was knocking everyone out. All of a sudden, sparring footage of him and Erickson Lubin leaked. Immediately, fans came out to defend Edgar, saying that, come on, man, that's just sparring. You can't really take that seriously. And months after that sparring footage was leaked, we seen that exact same Edgar Berlanga in his next couple of fights as a pro. I've already told you guys this, and I'm gonna keep telling you this. Every single time Canelo Alvarez stepped up in competition, took on the toughest challenge, he either outright lost or the fight ended in controversy. From his fights with Floyd Mayweather to Erislandy Lara to Gennady Golovkin and now Dimitry Bivol. Pound for pound kings and some of the greatest fighters of all time, they're mainly known for who they beat, not how many belts they won against underdog champions. This is the reason why Sugar Ray Leonard's name is synonymous with Tommy Hearns, with Duran, with Hagler, Wilfredo Benitez. And Sugar Ray Leonard, he beat them all. Even when Sugar Ray Leonard lost the first fight to Duran, he came back and avenged that loss, which is what the greats do. Canelo Alvarez, he hasn't avenged any of his losses yet. Can he avenge the Bivol loss? Is he going to take the rematch and dominate him the way Sugar Ray Leonard did when he dominated a Duran and made him quit? So at the end of the day, when Mike Tyson says all Canelo has to do is jab and move his head side to side, that's basically telling Canelo Alvarez, all you got to do next time you fight Bivol is be me, just be Mike Tyson, and you're going to win for sure. But Canelo Alvarez ain't no damn Mike Tyson. He ain't even close. Canelo Alvarez is 31 years old, and he's still making the same mistakes that he was making when he fought against Floyd Mayweather. And this is the reason why Oscar De La Hoya suggested to Canelo when they were close. When he was promoting Canelo Alvarez, he told Canelo, you should think about getting a new trainer. Because Oscar De La Hoya was basically telling Canelo Alvarez that he was the same flawed fighter that got completely dominated by an old man that was 15 pounds smaller than him named Floyd Mayweather. And Canelo got the nerve to now try to use a size excuse after Floyd had to move up 5 weight classes just to fight a champion that was 14 years or 13 years younger and 15 pounds bigger the night of the fight. How is it possible that Floyd Mayweather can dominate somebody bigger than him that has way more power than him? Remember, Floyd wasn't known for his power after moving up 5 weight classes. And you mean to tell me that after Canelo moves up, 4 weight classes?
Correction, after he moves up 3 weight classes.
And he's still looking just as big as his opponent in the ring? He has the type of power at 175 that Floyd Mayweather never had. And you still couldn't get the job done? Forget getting the job done. You still couldn't even make the fight competitive? I tell you guys all the time, the truth always comes to light. And now Canelo Alvarez is completely getting exposed as the most overrated fighter that he has been since old media started praising him as the greatest fighter of all time, pound for pound the best. The truth is, old media and a lot of the racist Canelo fans that support Canelo, they knew all along deep down that Canelo was a limited fighter. This is the reason why they never wanted to see fights like Canelo Andre, Canelo Jamal Charlo, Canelo even against David Benavidez. You see, these fans that defend Canelo Alvarez, they tell on themselves without even knowing that they're doing it. For example, one minute they'll try to say how Charlo and Andrade are a bunch of bums, they don't deserve to fight Canelo Alvarez. Then in the same conversation, they will turn around and say, oh, well, you know, Canelo is just doing the same thing that all the fighters are doing today. You know, no one's fighting the best and etc. So wait a minute. So first you said that Charlo and Andrade, they were bums, and that's how you justified Canelo avoiding these undefeated champions, calling him out for 6 years at 154 and 160. Now you're saying, well, everyone avoids tough challenges. Now you're forced to admit this is the reason why Canelo Alvarez didn't take these fights, because you felt the same way Canelo Alvarez felt all along. you knew deep down there was a very, very good chance that Canelo was too much of a flawed fighter to get in the ring with someone like Andrade or Charlo without further being exposed, like he just got exposed this past weekend. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.
And how has this changed your life, man?
It's been good. It's been good. I feel younger, look younger. The young girls. I just didn't scratch that, but it's been good. It's been good. I like to look. I like to feel. I feel more confident now. It was money well spent.
Now, in terms of the response, what has been people said, like, as people being like, hey, you know, what do you have in your head, or things of that sort?
The most response I get is like, yo, what barber you go to? How they get, you know, such a close shave with, you know, everything lined up so sharp and everything. And, you know, then I go into explaining to them the procedure, what I had done and everything. And they all was like, I would never know if we didn't.
Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram.